Hey, Mike Unkelbach here with Marissa and Mike's YouTube channel. We're going to talk about fasting today. You know, Ben Franklin said we get old way too soon and wise way too late. So my mission with this is to bring you some information on fasting, number one, that will help you get old way slower and give you some wisdom and maybe some insight to fasting. You know, the goal here for me on this YouTube channel is to give you some things that will help you, hopefully entertain from time to time, but mostly to aggregate just this huge pile of information that is spewed out in the health, wellness, anti-aging. I do up to a dozen books a month. I go to seminars. I have tons of relationships in the industry. And so I just have access to a lot of information firsthand. I've taken the time to go to PubMed and to read people's books and to watch, I think I got my 10,000 hours in on YouTube too, watching some pretty obscure things. There's a lot of lectures and stuff out there if you want to sit through the hour and a half to 2.5 hour YouTube video to glean out of it the parts that are really usable. And I geek out on that stuff, and I do. So here we go. Fasting 101. You hear now about intermittent fasting. You hear about water fasting. You may have heard about dry fasting. There are people fasting part of each day. That's intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting would be you eat dinner tonight at 6 or 7 and you go to bed, no late night snacking, just water, black coffee, tea without any sugar in it, things like that, no calories. You sleep, you get up the next morning. So if you ate last at 7 and you slept till 7 in the morning, there's 12 hours right there. And if you could skip breakfast and make it till 10 or 11, there's 15 hours. If you said, well, heck, I can do better than that, I'll push lunch back to 1. Now we're at 17 hours. And if you skipped lunch and went to dinner again the next day, you just put in a 24-hour fast. So a lot of people are doing intermittent fasting. Dinner at 6 or 7, maybe pushing breakfast out to 7, 8, 9 o'clock, getting that 12 or 13 hours without putting any food in your belly, no substantial calories. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, it does a lot of things. It helps boost your immune system. It can trigger atophagy, and we'll get more into that, but autophagy's a big deal. It can turn off mTOR, which is also a big deal. You want to cycle back and forth between autophagy and mTOR, but you want to be in autophagy much more than you are in mTOR, and we'll get to that. It also gives your gut a chance to rest. This idea that we've had in America for the past several years that you should eat 5, 6 times a day, there isn't anywhere in the history of man walking around on this planet where there was a period of time where people ate 4, 5, 6 times a day, because we weren't made to do that. Every time you eat triggers an insulin response. Insulin's a hormone. Having insulin being gorged out into your circulatory system all the time is not a good thing. It's going to cause you all kinds of problems. It's also going to keep you in mTOR. There's 100 reasons not to eat every couple hours. We just weren't designed to do that. Think about it. Up until the last maybe 50 years, a lot of people were lucky if they got one really good meal a day. This 3 meals a day thing, that was created by the food industry. It wasn't created by your body, and it's not what you need to do, but it's what we're told to do now. And then we took it to the extreme with 4, 5, 6 meals a day. And what's that netted us? Well, so for the first time in the history of the United States, the actuarial tables have turned and we're now living shorter. Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. You hear about early onset Alzheimer's, early onset dementia, early onset Parkinson's. Cancer's through the roof. We've raised billions of dollars in all kinds of foundations. It hasn't made any difference. As a matter of fact, by all counts, we're doing better in treating some things, but we sure as hell hasn't slowed down the amount of people getting it. As a matter of fact, it's just getting worse, and people are getting it younger and younger. And you got to ask yourself, why? Well, remember earlier I talked about going back and forth between mTOR and atophagy. Well, mTOR is the phase in your body when you're in growth mode. When everything's growing, your body's making things. Well, the good news is you need mTOR and you need to make new cells and stuff, and you need to make the good things, right? The problem with mTOR is when it's turned on, you also open the door to make the bad things, for cancer to grow faster or to get started. And so mTOR has to be balanced by autophagy. And the fastest way I know to get you into autophagy is just ask you to stop eating. Start intermittent fasting. Once I can get you to 12 hours, I can get you to 15. If I can get you to 15, I can get you to 17. If I can do that, hopefully I can get you to 24. So as I sit here on doing this video right now, I'm about to cross the 24-hour mark. I do that because I'm worth it, because being healthy and living a long time is important to me. It's more important than having a cheeseburger. I have people all the time tell me, well, I just starve. Or they go 4 or 5 hours without eating and they're dizzy. And, quite often what's actually happened is they're in severe sugar withdrawal. For the first time in a while, their blood's just not full of sugar and their body's freaking out. If you go home and sit and be still, if that's what it takes to go several hours without eating for the first time in a long time, you'll survive it. If you're on medications, you should consult your physician before doing that. And if it's really causing you a problem, then eat. You can always eat. We're good at that. We're so good at eating in America that the average American has over 100,000 calories stored on their body somewhere. 100,000. So if you're burning 2,000 a day, which is a good round number for Americans, if you're burning 2,000 a day and you have 100,000 stored, how many days could you fast and be okay? I think that's 50. That's longer than Jesus fasted. 50 days that the average American has stored. Since I've gotten involved in fasting, I've watched hundreds of people fast their blood sugar levels back to normal, fast their blood pressure levels back to normal, their autoimmune problems back to normal. I've got multiple contacts, people that I know of personally, who diagnosed with cancer, decided to fast either before or during their treatment, even during chemo, and have just had absolutely amazing results. Not saying you should do that, but I'm surely saying if I was in that situation, I would sure do my homework and go look at it. It might just save your life. There are, what do you want to call them, spas, places, retreats where people are going all around the world and going on 20, 30, even 40-day supervised fasts to heal their body and give their body a chance to hit the reset button and put themselves in an extended period of autophagy so their body could clean itself up. So I've talked about autophagy a lot. Let me just give you a real quick overview, because I'd have to do an entire video on autophagy. But Think of it this way. Autophagy is your body's system of taking out the trash. And so when you go into autophagy, your body makes these little organelles, phagocytes, that are like a trash bag. And inside the cells, things are taken apart, looking for things your body can use. And the bad stuff's put inside these little organelles and then carried out of the body. It's your body's way of literally taking out the trash. And so when you eat all the time, your body doesn't go into that state because there's always readily available food. So there's no reason for it to go into autophagy, which translates into eat thyself. And your body was designed to do that. Man, it'll go through and break down viruses and misformed proteins and even toxins, take them apart, looking for that one little fat chain or protein chain in there that's usable. The rest of it is then expelled, but your body's not going to do that if you never put it in a position to need to. If you're going to eat a Snickers bar every hour, you're never going to go into autophagy. And I truly believe one of the reasons the actuarial tables have turned in America and we're living shorter is because the average American stays in the state of mTOR all the time. And you never take out the trash. So the amyloid plaques in your brain keep forming, the cancer keeps growing, the autoimmune systems just get worse. The DNA chains that are messed up just keep replicating. There's never a time where the body has to go back, take out the trash, put everything back like it's supposed to be, which it's designed to do. You're just not giving it a chance to do that. I've mentioned this book already on 2 or 3 other videos. Go open an Audible account, get Dr. Fung's book, A Complete Guide to Fasting, and just listen to it and see if it doesn't resonate and make sense. So there's a whole bunch more that I'll talk about. We'll do a video on mTOR and autophagy. We'll do videos on autophagy. We'll do videos just on intermittent fasting and on water fasting and on dry fasting and what it looks and feels like to do multiple day fast. I'll bring some people on that have done, besides me, so you're not always hearing from me, multiple day water fasts. I've got folks that we can go from 1 to 20 plus days, not me, somebody else, so you can hear from somebody else besides me. Fasting will be a part of my regimen for the rest of my life because I believe it will help me live much longer, much healthier, and more importantly, not have to deal with the diseases of aging that everybody else has to do. There's study after study after study that shows calorie restriction extends lifespan in mammals. So, and there's more and more stuff coming out about calorie restriction and what it does in humans. 2 years ago, the Nobel Prize was awarded to a scientist in Japan for being the first person to really identify and walk us through all of what happens in autophagy. We've known about it for a long time. We just didn't study it and we didn't think it was that big a deal. And now we know it's not just a big deal. It might be one of the deals. So hopefully I've given you a little bit of an overview, and we're going to come back and talk about all of the things I talked about here in specifics. We'll put them in the playlist under fasting. So hopefully this helped a little bit, and we want to not get old so soon, and we want to get wiser faster. Listen, have a blessed day. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.